Hello everyone, I'm Rupam, founder and CEO of Aculi Labs Private Limited, Bangalore, India, creator of Lifers, and author of the book Intimacy Lost from Man, The Birth of the Lugal. And welcome you all to yet another episode, the episode number 20 on learning intimacy. And in this episode, we are going to continue from where we left in yesterday's episode. That is episode number 19, and we were understanding about learning and knowledge. We already understand from yesterday's episode that we when the brain cannot figure out how to survive, when the brain suffers, at that moment brain tries to make sense of the world, tries to get the answer to the fundamental questions. So when the brain is suffering, when the brain is not really understanding the world, at that time brain creates certain questions. Why this thing is happening? Why it is happening to me? What this means? How this is happening? And so on. So brain then looks for the answer to these fundamental questions. And when brain looks for these fundamental questions, why, how, what, when, brain is looking for understanding more meaning, or brain is looking for finding a meaning to the world, physical world it is experiencing. And then at that stage, even though brain is seeking to learn, its ability to learn is not all that great because it is already struggling, it is already suffering with life. And therefore, the first thing brain seeks is an emotion, a positive emotion. That positive emotion helps the suffering brain to get slowed down. And when the brain slows down, at that stage the brain becomes in the receiving mode. The neuroplasticity of the brain increases. Brain sees a lot of things but does not receive all of things. It does not, it observes, it gets many signals, but then what it receives, what it organizes, it's its choice. We don't have a free will. And so once it gets the emotional comfort, it becomes a learner. Once it decides to learn, it then becomes a good listener. Good listener is not only with respect to what you hear, but it is consuming, it is ready to receive the knowledge from the one who has given him the emotions. This person who gives the emotion is called a teacher. Let me repeat, this person who has got given the emotions is called a teacher. And teacher is the one from whom this person who was suffering and trying to make a meaning out of the world is now going to learn what? The answers to the fundamental questions that is brain is created and to make more meaning out of the life. So who is a teacher? A teacher is one who provides helpful understanding of the meaning of the questions that an individual is seeking when the individual is struggling. So this individual who is seeking the answer is known as a student. So a teacher is essentially doing two things. Number one, he is providing an emotional comfort to the brain who is disturbed, who is very anxious because it doesn't understand the meaning. So the teacher first gives them that comfort. After the teacher gives them the comfort, the teacher helps them to understand this world. And this is a student. So I'm going to share with you an interesting story yesterday shared with me by one of our regular students, one of our regular viewers, Riyashri. So yesterday, Riyashri had a conversation with me, and Riyashri has this to say, that your videos have been so beneficial. I'm a housewife. I have a 5-year-old child, and every day I complete up all my day's work and start seeing your video. I'm not an English educated, so it takes me time to understand the meaning of the video, and then I try to note down and learn from them. And when I was watching your video on sexuality, I kept on crying because I could correlate with my life. So thank you, Riyashri, so much for watching these videos and classes regularly, and the your willingness to learn and make more meaning out of your life. And thank you so much for sharing your experience. Coming back now, so a student is essentially the one who is struggling with life, unable to make sense out of the life and the world, people around them, is looking for the meaning, having a lot of fundamental questions through which he is going to try to find the meaning. Then he comes across, he tries book, he tries videos, he tries to meet people, and from one entity he gets that emotion with which he connects. Even if he is reading a book, he gets connected with the author. Even if he is meeting an institution, he is getting connected with an individual. So his emotions are being comforted by a teacher. So a teacher's first role is essentially to give that emotional comfort to a student. Now, why children are students? Of course, when a child is born and when a child has started making sense of the world is a grandiose place for the child. The child has only two parents, only two individuals whom the child understands. And it sees many things it doesn't understand. It sees car, it sees bird, it sees people shouting, screaming, angry. It sees mood swing of people. It sees mobile phone. It sees a lot of things and it doesn't understand the world. So the child's brain is seeking for the answer. First step is emotional comfort. So because up to the age 5, a child's physiology and psychology is more or less locked with the mother. This state psychologically is called the essential narcissism or primary narcissism, where the mother and child are essentially two different bodies but one brain, one single entity. So when the child is not understanding the meaning of the world, whom the child has the best ability to learn from? Of course, the mother. Of course, because the child's emotion is locked with the mother. So when the mother teaches the child learns. It's a natural process. But a child, physiology and psychology are not locked with nannies. They cannot be locked with nannies or grandparents or a play school. It doesn't happen. So the child doesn't get that emotional comfort, emotional safety because it's inside, it is struggling to make sense. It's a very struggling brain, unsettled brain which is moving at a very high frequency. There are many thoughts. It is not slowing down. And so the mother gives comfort to the child. The mother gives love to the child. And that the mother teaches. There is no other entity in the world which can teach the child. So mother is the first teacher of the child. And now we have stupidity doesn't stop at one thing, does it? So when a mother teaches the child, pretty much everybody around their circle they say, "What a loser you are! You should hire somebody to teach your child. Why you are wasting your life teaching your child? You just have a child and now earn money, become independent." No. Why? Somebody teaches. Because if I am to teach you, I have to have a very stable emotion. What is emotion? Emotion is average feeling given by a story that links different events in the life. So, for example, myself being a biomedical researcher is one of my stories. So, if I bring that story into my brain, that will have a lot of experiments I have done on myself, a lot of clinical research we have done, and I'll share with you the Google Scholar link today, Project Lifers, ECG, and plenty of the other things. So, just this single story that I am a researcher of biophysics loads a lot of those events in my life, and then I get an average emotion. When I have that average emotion, then my body comes down. If it is positive, for example, when I am teaching you this class, I am a teacher. I'm not a consultant, I'm not an expert, I'm a teacher. Whatever I learn from our patients, from real life, from people. So when I see myself as somebody who learns from people, then that story loads all the right emotions into my body. Then I take these classes and give you the emotions. So why a teacher gives you the emotion? Because when I do it daily, when I teach you daily, even though I'm giving my emotions, I generate the emotions, I'm giving my emotions. But when you will share your stories, you will share the way this is changing, you will share the questions. At that moment, I will get pleasure. I will start feeling that emotion. I'll start feeling important. I'll start feeling that I'm needed in the world. Being needed in the world, being able to make some difference, positive difference in somebody's life. This is a very, very high emotion into somebody's life. As we know, emotion is a very expensive currency. So, when I teach you, in turn, for instance, yesterday the way Riyashri has narrated her experience, many of you now will reach out to me, or over a period of time you reach out to me. Many patients reach out to us, many startup founders reach to me, and that makes me feel good, that makes me feel responsible, that gives me a reason to learn myself, that gives me a reason, that helps me understand that I do not know the life well yet. Because when you bring those questions, I think about those questions, correlate with my life, and then I want to learn because I still do not understand that meaning. So you understand, the teaching is a fascinating thing because it gives you an emotion. it helps you to give those emotions to the people, because the society is so devoid of emotion. We are feeling driven, more or less. um, we care about 10 seconds feeling, but everybody is looking for emotions. So I can give you those emotions. After getting those emotions, your physiology will come down. You will listen to me, you will hear, you will take some changes, or at least understand something, and then you implement those in your life. You try to share those experiences with me. Then then when you do that, I get the feeling, so I experience my emotions through teaching, and that's why teaching is so beautiful. So when a mother doesn't teach the child, genetically, a female gene, X chromosome, has 95% of the genetic traits from last 10 million years. So her gene expects to get this emotion by teaching her child, because in every animal kingdom, mother teaches the child. Why mother does it? Because mother gets so much of emotion. Delivering the baby is not making anybody mother, but when you devalue our females, that they are not required to teach, that you have a lot of money and you can hire a teacher. No, you cannot hire a teacher. You cannot hire a teacher. For a child, it is evolutionary. The mother has to get the emotion by teaching the child. That's how mother feels needed. Mother is not, a teacher is not supposed to tell the child, do this, do that, go there, sit here, eat. Why are you not eating? Many of you who are watching this video and, of course, listening to the podcast, attending the classes may correlate that you may be using a word strict mother. That's a story you tell yourself when your mother, instead of teaching you, controlled you. She directed you. She pointed finger at you. She wanted you to do what she wants. That's not what a mother gets emotion from. A mother gets emotion by teaching the child. A mother teaches the child alphabets, numbers, stories, and then the child asks more questions, and mother gets more emotion. She thinks, let's make her supremely important, because this 5 years of child's development is created by the mother. So mother is gifting to the world future of the humanity. A child who is not going to be ill, who becomes a student, who knows how to learn, will solve his life's problem, who was not told by the mother, sit, go there, come with me, hold the bag, do your homework. Instead, look, there is a moon, and in that moon, you see the faces. Those faces are nothing but mountains. When we see the mountains from the very far distance, they are this big and they appear like lines. So big things, when we see from the far, they appear like lines, and through those lines you can make shape. Look at those flowing clouds. They are flowing. Can you see a shape? See how mother is teaching. Mother is teaching the child. Mother is not saying that you should not go there. There is a mountain. So the child understood. Okay, big thing from distance will appear like a shape. So if shape, that means this is bigger than the big things. There are many things that the child's brain does. The mother does not, is not pinpointed, and mother gets so much of emotion because the child now, he is not being forced. The child has curiosity. So the mother is developing the curiosity in the child. And so when this child grows up, he will not have anxiety disorder. His aging will be slower. He will not get aggressive and violent. His brain will be able to handle the situation irrespective of how difficult it is. So the child from the age of 30 to 60 will not be under health care. The child himself may go on to teach many. The child will not be running behind the money. He will be running behind real success. He will create things for the human race. So, if you add those valuation, then the mother is gifting to the world something like 20 to 30 million dollars. You can estimate that. Heart replacement, you can add the cost of liver replacement. You can add the cost of drinking for 30 years, because if the mother has taught, the child will be so much having so much of good childhood emotion that the child will not become a drug addict or a drunk going for. It's just not possible, because mother has taught him so well. He has plethora of good emotion inbuilt inside him. So 30 years every day, drinking cost you save, medicine cost you save, there is no surgery that the child is going to have. Then the child is going to give a lot of positive energy. So this 5 years, mother is becoming so meaningful for the future, and the see, the lazy brains do not have the ability to think, so they are going to tell this mother that why you are sitting at home and doing mundane things like teaching the child. You could go out and you can have job, become independent, earn money. All right, but can you buy your sleep with money? Can you subsidize your anxiety with money? Can you fill yourself with money? Is the point. The money, if you are happy, money will come. As much as is required, that will come. If you have money, that will not make you happy. You will appear to be happy in the world, in front of the world. You will show off your cars, you will show off your brands, and you will then claim that, yes, I have a lot of things. But only those who doesn't have a big cares about the things. So mothers, if any of the mothers listening here or attending the class, you have been creating $20 million worth of an asset for the future of humanity, and it's absolutely, and in turn you are getting so much emotions by yourself that you'll not have a metabolic syndrome. You'll not have early menopause, no ovarian disease, no allergy, no autoimmunity. Beautiful, right? So you save yourself a lot of money, you get a lot of good emotions. Whenever, even after 18 years, your child is away from you, and you sit and think about those childhood, the emotions that you shared, the things that you taught. Of course, those will give you emotions, because this is emotional exchange. My student give me emotion. I've taught about 28,000 students, and they still give me emotions. I can think back whenever I'm suffering. I can just think back, think about some student, his life, his progress. It gives me good emotions. So coming back, teacher cannot, by definition, teach for money, because a teacher has to give emotion. Money by default separates the emotion, because money is dopamine driven. Emotions are more stable. It's a state, it's a memory with hormonal state. So, so whenever you get money, you have pleasure, dopamine. By definition, if you there is no such thing as professional teacher, right? Can there be anything called professional teacher? No, because when you teach and then get money against that, when you teach and get money against that, then that teaching is giving you pleasure. you are doing a job, you are not exchanging emotions. You cannot. Just by default, dopamine or the pleasure inhibits emotion. People look for emotion because then they don't have to seek the pleasure all the time. This is the first thing. So, the second thing is because when somebody is looking for the meaning of life and suffering, not understanding things, struggling, somebody is looking for meaning of life. So, only someone who has gone through the similar struggle can give more meaning, isn't it? So, for example, if you are a female, then chances are that in the childhood you had to suppress a lot of your feelings because you had to adjust with the society. You suppress a lot of your feelings in the childhood. You created a mask and you gave a more agreeable, more likely personal to the society to be more accepted, to have a better social connections. You must have done that as a child, and then as you grew up, that must have become your habit because over a period of time you created a persona. So people interacted with that persona. Now the problem is now the problem is you only know only you know how what is the meaning of the feeling of a girl, how the feelings are suppressed, how the girl cannot express, which could be the way to express because you could not do it in your childhood. Now if you have a girl child, it's your opportunity, right? You can read, you can take help from people who understands this. You will try to understand this more, and then, but rather mothers, what mothers do? Yes, I could not express myself. My childhood was bad. I had to suppress so much of emotions. Now my girl child will not do that. She will express and she teaches her to just express. No, she is not looking for expressing her feelings. She is looking for a meaning of her feeling. So this is how lazy brains are created because the mothers are not being given enough incentive to do this great work. So the mother, when she becomes a girl child, how she looks into the life. Oh yeah. Whatever I did not get in my life, my girl child will get. I had suffered so much. My girl child will not be suffering. Come on. You are genetically different person. Your girl child is a genetically different person. She is, even though you have 95% of the similar genes, but then again, she is a different person. She will have certain skills which will be different. She will have certain internal processes which will be completely different from you. She will be living in an era, in a generation which is completely different from you. Her struggles in life is going to be completely different from you. So you cannot, it is going to repeat. You cannot desire your girl to do things that you could not do. If you are not satisfied with your life, that is your choice. That unsatisfaction is your choice. Your girl will not make you satisfied. It will screw your girl's life also. So mother becomes a teacher. She teaches. Why? Because she knows what are those questions. So she can go find out those questions and then she teaches the girl child that, okay, look, if you have this question, it could be the meaning. She will tell stories. And that's why teacher is always a fatherly or motherly figure. For a very small child, only mothers can teach. For a small child, only mothers can teach. And thereafter, whether it is female or male, both testosterone increases, heart rate, both brain gets expanded, and at that time they are no more receptive to the mothers. At that time father has to teach because father has seen more life. Genetically males have explored more, have traveled more, solved more problems. So the genetic memory of a man is much wider and his energy is much higher. We already know man is a sympathetic driven individual and female is a parasympathetic driven individual. A female's metabolic rate is very slow, a man's metabolic rate is very high. He is energy efficient. A man gives the energy and then his ability to recover is very fast because in the college, female takes 1 hour class, a man takes 1 hour class. There is a huge difference. The man will have a lot of growth hormone, which will heal. Standing for 1 hour will cause wear and tear in the muscles, but the man will recover very fast. The female will not recover that fast. And when you continue this process for 10 years, a female, which is quote unquote teaching in the classroom, taking 2 classes every day, will have much more physical problems than the man. So after the age of 5, man teaches. There is this second problem. The females are always physiologically and psychologically connected with their own child. It's a hormone that enters into the child, into the womb. So a child's basic sense of the hormones, we know how brain tries to estimate what is the feeling of each of the organs and then try to generate a neurochemical. So when the child's brain is not at all developed in the womb, it's still body is still feeling, right? Heart is beating. So mother's biochemistry and mother's feeling, hormonal state is what the child is feeling. It is a 9 months of process for the child to start estimating the mother's feeling, and therefore a mother can only teach her own child. Okay, a mother can teach only her own child, not other's child. Now, mothers can teach others' child when they start become motherly to them. But then again, if you bring motherly innocence, these children must be suffering. These children must look at her as their mother. Then only they can learn from this. Now, tell me, which mother would agree for their children to look at another woman as mother? Would you? Would you? Would you not get hurt? So no mother wants their child to look at any other woman as a mother, right? It's a degradation. Female, it will make you violent inside your mind. You'll feel rejected. So how can another female teach when the child is looking to learn from the mother? Think it's a logical question. There is no perspective. It's a logic. It's simple, very simple, childish question. If the child's genes are meant to learn from the mother, if the child is learning in the play school, whom his body is going to consider to be mother? Quote unquote, that teacher. I'm going to come what is that who takes money and teaches? But however, his physiology and psychology is not linked with that teacher. So he doesn't learn. He knows the things. He doesn't learn. He knows the things. So what is the difference between knowledge and learning? Learning is answer to fundamental questions of life when the brain was trying to make meaning out of the life. Why brain tries to find the meaning out of the life? When it is struggling and suffering. Like childhood, like in the case of a breakup, like in the case of, I don't know, maybe when somebody is suffering from a long-term disease. These are the conditions when we are vulnerable. Job loss, turmoils in the relationship, isn't it? So at that stage, brain is trying to make sense out of the meaning because life appears absurd. There are thoughts of suicide, and brain doesn't want to commit suicide. It wants to understand why it should exist. So then a teacher teaches. But only with meaning it is very, very difficult to live life. Because let's say you understand that a man should be super conscious. That's not enough, right? And you learned, you got emotions from me. You learned that man should have super consciousness. You also learned that as a mother, you have to teach your child. But understanding this meaning doesn't make you a teacher, isn't it? You have to learn what is to be taught, right? That is called knowledge, knowing, not learning, knowing. So you have to know why sun is bright. You have to know why moon size is changing. You have to know why male have longer hair. You have to know why why males have beard, females have longer hair. You have to know what is the economy. You have to know how to drive. You have to know how to cook. So knowing means something from which knowledge can be derived, from which learning can be derived. So knowing means physical world. So knowing is related to physical world. Knowing can be a wisdom, data, some information, some science. So knowing also is answering the questions, but knowing is more or less organized towards how. Knowing is how. How to drive. So you are knowing, you know how to drive. Knowing how to write. So you know how to write. Knowing how to cook. You know how to cook. Knowing is more or less answers how part. How Ohm's law work, that is knowing. Okay. Now tell me one thing. If somebody doesn't want to learn, is not learning from you, if somebody is not learning from you, or if you are not utilizing that knowledge, why would brain want to know something? Now, when a mother becomes a teacher, she has to know how to teach a child ABCD, because she will be doing her, she will teach the child. So she has to acquire the knowledge. So knowledge is acquired. Knowledge is acquired. It is not a requirement, fundamental requirement. Even if a mother doesn't teach the child, neither the child or the mother is dying at this moment. They are not suffering. So knowledge is acquired. Why? For a purpose. Why you want to drive? Because you want to go from side A to side B. Why you wanted to become mother? Because. Why you want to cook? Because you will get your emotions regulated through the cooking, and then you will get the feelings when somebody eat that. So you are giving your emotion, it's like teaching, you are giving your emotion, somebody is eating that, giving you the feelings back. That's why you have to know cooking. You now have to know how to cook. So, more or less, the answers of the house is what is knowledge. And of course, we have to define the purpose for which we want this knowledge. Now, learning is answer of the meaning of life in certain situations, that is learning. The knowledge is the answers of the how, which is part of that learning. So from whom we get knowledge? We acquire knowledge from which is called knowledge base. Knowledge base can be a book, any video resources. Knowledge base can be a paper. Knowledge base can be somebody, a website, blog, video. This is a knowledge base. So we acquire, there is a knowledge base and we acquire the knowledge. Now, good thing is, there is a knowledge base which is accessible to many. So it is then our efficiency and ability to take that knowledge. After a teacher teaches, it's an emotional exchange. The teacher is exhausted. After the teaching, I will get pretty much exhausted after the class. Then there is a knowledge base. Knowledge base more or less guides you how to do that. For instance, in most of the classes, even in today's class, I will link to some of the life first resources which will help you to understand what is knowledge, what is success of life, and so on. So that is a knowledge base, which means that you can go there, acquire the knowledge. The book, Intimacy, Laws for Men, The Birth of the Lugal, that's a teaching as well as knowledge. Why? Because through the book I'm communicating with you, I'm teaching you, you are taking up the book if you are struggling with the life. If you are not able to make sense out of the life, if as a man you are feeling being degraded, if as a man you are feeling being completely crushed and you do not know why things are not working out well, you might have a good degree, good job, and still you feel there is something wrong with you. Then when you pick up that book, I try to first give you the pure emotions, and that's how, while writing the book, after writing the book, I very much could not get up for a very long period of time because I exhausted my emotions. So you'll get those emotions which will slowly give you the comfort. And then after giving you the comfort, emotional comfort, it will answer you those fundamental questions. Why am I suffering? Why somebody is shouting on me? Why am I not able to manage the relationship? The answers of the why, which is learning. And then once you learn, the book gives you a knowledge base, how to do something. That is, how to become a better converser, how to carry out a better conversation, how to handle if somebody is shouting on you, how to present yourself in presentation. So that is knowledge base. Now that knowledge base is emotionless. So you have to acquire that knowledge, apply that knowledge in your life, get a life experience, have a feeling, and connect many of those stories into an emotion. Let me repeat. There is a knowledge base. A knowledge base by definition is answer to how to. It's a process, how you can do something, how something works. It's knowing how to do something. It's a verb, how you do something. Knowing how to shoot, knowing how to code, knowing how to create a blog. So knowledge base is more or less how to. When you have the knowledge base, a knowledge base helps you to do, because if you are not doing anything, then whenever you are struggling, only understanding the meaning is not enough. You have to do that. As a mother, now you learned that you will get tremendous amount of emotion when you teach your child, which nothing can give you in the world. You learn that, but learning that is not enough. You have to have the knowledge how to do that, right? And how would you have the knowledge? You will get the knowledge from a knowledge base. And in the modern time, whom we call teachers, one who teaches in the classroom, they're not teachers, they're knowledge providers. They're knowledge providers, knowledge man and knowledge woman. You should change the definition. Milkman, milkwoman. Businessman, businesswoman. They are provider. They are giving you. They cannot give emotion. There is a transaction associated with whenever somebody is doing something in the classroom, giving you the knowledge in the classroom. So, a knowledge man, he is not teacher, he is knowledge man. Say what it is, and then it makes the world easy. Because becoming a teacher is like a spirituality. You completely exhaust yourself. You teach not for the hope of money or not when you get the money. You teach, you give your life to others, experiences to others, those who are seeking those answers. Knowledge man does an important thing. Everybody does an important thing. Because only knowing the meaning is not enough. A mother has to know how to teach also, how to talk to the child, how to make the child speak, how to make the child right? She has to do this. Knowing the meaning is not enough. She has to do this. And a knowledge man and knowledge woman. So, whatever you are calling the teacher, professionals, they are knowledge men and knowledge women. Just like milkman, milkwoman, fisherman, fisherwoman, businessman, businesswoman. They are providers. So a knowledge provider in a classroom. Why we call it a classroom? Because it's part of the objects of the classes. So in a classroom, categories of the objects. Who wants to learn how to do? So what does? Machine works, right? Sometimes as human we have to also work like machines. We have to produce something, use our energy and produce something. And therefore, knowledge provider provides the knowledge of you to do something good. A knowledge provider can never tell you how Ohm's law is relevant in life, can he? In this episode, we have used Ohm's law very fundamentally as a relationship between man and woman, man and a girl. Did you ever think as a child that Ohm's law might be so important? That it may drive the human, a man and a girl? You did not, right? That is teaching. But just because you learn that Ohm's law governs a man and a girl does not solve the problem, because now you have to do that. Learning, you learn, but now you have to do that. So you have to acquire knowledge. So a knowledge provider, professionally who makes you acquire the process of which how to do something, they are knowledge providers. So you are the knowledge seekers. You are the knowledge consumers, not students. Knowledge consumer, because it's an answer to how to doing something. Who do something? Who does something? Machines. So there is a part of us which has to act like a machine. We have to not use our brain and do the things. And if you do not do the things, then you do not experience life. If you do not experience life, you do not have a memory. If you do not have a memory, by default, you don't have any emotions. If you don't have any emotions, you don't have any learnings. So as a nutshell, it all starts with knowledge, knowing. And after knowing, so when you learn how to do it, when you learn how to do it, that how to leads to knowledge. Knowledge is without any emotions. Knowledge is a process. Knowledge helps you to do something. So those in the classroom that gives you the knowledge are the knowledge man and knowledge woman. They don't have to invest emotions. They will acquire knowledge from books and other sources. They will present that knowledge easily so that you can acquire the knowledge. Alright? In a classroom, a knowledge man or knowledge girl or knowledge woman provides the knowledge. No students. Knowledge consumers or the knowledge seekers, they take the knowledge. So there is no emotion. It's a process. Now, after getting the knowledge, you have to execute. You learned a knowledge, then you have to execute. So when a mother is executing her knowledge of how to teach the child, she will be experiencing various emotions. Something may go according to this class. Some experiences may not go according to the class. Now she is gaining her life experiences. When she becomes, this mother becomes grandmother. Her daughter-in-law or her daughter is giving birth to baby. Then that grandmother becomes the teacher of that daughter-in-law. Then that grandmother is going to teach, look, mother will have this thing. Think of the world in this fashion. This is why the girl's stomach gets long. This is why you don't have. So the grandmother will answer the questions of why. You see how relevant a female is for us, for the humans, because she will be teaching the pregnant lady, the grandmothers, the seniors. They'll be teaching. Only they can teach because they have experience. They have done that. So at that moment, mother first will know how to teach. What are the things to teach and how to teach? How to teach the child ABCD. Mother will go and search for the blog and she will practice. So after you have acquired the knowledge, you have to practice that knowledge. So the mother will try to practice. Then she will implement, she will teach the child. But one day the child may not pick up. So what will the mother do? She will think, how I can make this better? She will bring her own changes into that. So we acquire knowledge, then we practice that knowledge, then we execute that knowledge in the field doing. And while executing, the mother is observing whether the child is learning or not. So we observe, we acquire knowledge from a knowledge man. Why? Because without knowledge we cannot do. If we don't do, we will not have any event. If we don't have any event, we will not generate any feelings. If we don't have any feelings, then there is no emotions. So knowledge provider also plays an important role. Knowledge is without any emotions. It is something that we have to do. So the mother has learned how to teach child. 5 ways how to teach your child ABCD. First, make your child sit like this in a place. Don't open TV. Number 3, put a pencil in your child. Hold her finger like this, and with him you move your fingers. You hold it like this. So knowledge has been acquired by the mother. Now the mother will implement that. After implementing, she will observe. Child is really getting that knowledge, not getting that knowledge, getting that knowledge, not getting that. If not getting that knowledge, she will change it. So now she is practicing while giving. She is practicing. As she practices, executes, she gets better because her life experience is added with the knowledge. Now feelings are added with the knowledge. When feelings are added with the knowledge, that becomes a skill. So you first know what is C programming, then you practice C programming, then you start writing codes in the C programming, and then you become more skillful. Then it becomes a circular process. Then you will have more, you'll struck up with more complex problems. Then you will go and acquire the knowledge how to solve those problems. You will come back, implement those new knowledge. That's how you become skillful. So what is a skill? Skill is practical implementation of the use of the knowledge, observation, making necessary changes to get better result, and the feeling, not emotion, the feeling out of that execution process. So whenever a coder gets the output of a code, it's like, I've got the result. Whenever a mathematician gets the solution of an equation, I've got the equation. Whenever a cricketer, for example, a bowler, is bowling out a batsman, yes, I finally got it. Whenever a chess grandmaster is being defeated by a new chess player, yes, I have defeated the grandmaster. So the chess player acquired knowledge of how to play chess, played chess, got some result, that is implemented by playing chess, got some result. This result gave dopamine. He took next level. So that's how knowledge goes from bottom level to top level. He goes to the next level. He cannot defeat to the next level. Now he acquires more knowledge. He understands more theory, opening theory, endgame theory. He acquires little more theory, but he cannot know the top level. So he goes to the next level. He acquires all the knowledge relevant to that level. He plays. He gets better. He observes, gets better. Now he is becoming a skilled chess player. He is becoming a skilled chess player. Then becomes international master. His Elo rating increased from 1300, 1500. So these are the labels. So knowledge has levels. Teaching has no label. Knowledge has label. Teaching has no label. They will remain to be the same after, even after 10,000 years, for example, because they come from the experience of life, and applying the knowledge only you get the experience. So I have to become skilled. I have to acquire the knowledge, how to look into the relationships. I have to become really skillful with that. I have to have a lot of. Then I have to observe. I have to observe how the dynamics is working. I have to adjust. So I become skillful. Once I become skillful, then I went and execute that. When I went and execute that, then I got feelings. Then when I started to make sense out of that, then I got meaning. So it always starts with a little knowledge. From the knowledge, execution. From the execution, observation. From the observation, your own changes into that. Then when you get a result, expected result, then expected result is a positive result where brain releases dopamine. Yes, I got it, expected result. So when you got expected result, then you completed that level. Now you want to go to the next level. So knowledge grows via the levels. As you implement your skill, you become more skillful. Then you should target the next level. You compete. This is a competition process, of course. So you're competing also with yourself. Next level, there you'll have stronger players who will throw you the competition. then you will acquire vast knowledge. Now you already have this knowledge. Now you acquire vast knowledges. So as you go on to the top, you become so good. Your brain now can be so skillful. It can attach feelings into that. And then when you go out and use this, when you make a code, that code will give you kick. But if you make a software and take it to, let's say, poor people, 1000 poor people, you will be having different experiences. You got little kick for making this software. Now you are taking the software to people. You will fail. You will struggle. Right? People will reject. Nobody wants your software. They will reject you, refuse you. So you'll feel rejected. You'll struggle. What happens when we struggle? We become students. And when we become students, we learn. We learn the fundamentals. So you acquire knowledge from the knowledge providers. Implement that knowledge in the field. Add your observation. Make changes. Make necessary changes. These changes with your knowledge becomes your new knowledge base, perfected by you. You get some positive result, that is dopamine, comes and it makes it a feelings. Now, but if you do not grow and if you continue to stay in that level, in that competition, if somebody is playing a district match, for example, a badminton player is district match all his whole life, there is no going higher, so knowledge is not increasing. Right? There is no knowledge which is increasing. So a chess player, if he is playing only with the school children, he is winning everything, but his knowledge is not growing. But when he challenges hierarchy, top player, he acquires more knowledge, because at that level his current knowledge is not enough. He puts more practice because currently his practice is not enough. And this way you reach to the top. The problem is people who reach to the top, they do not know, because there is no other. Once you win the Olympic medal, there is no other top. In your sports, you won the Olympic medal, there is no other top. So then they try to hold, once somebody becomes prime minister of a country, there is no other top. That is the top. So then what you do? You try to hold on to that, but no. Great Olympic players, if you have observed, once they reach to the top, they know they have nothing to achieve. Then they try to go to ground and try to create another Olympic champion like them. Now, they did it. All this, they reached to the top. They have all the feelings. Now, they don't have yet emotions, they have feelings. And they have one satisfactory emotion, that is, I reached from ELO rating 1200, now I am an international, for example, Magnus Carlsen. I reached 3200, yeah. Sachin Tendulkar, yeah, I reached 100 centuries. So, satisfaction that yes, I did this. So, that satisfaction will take 2 decades at least, right? This rise, 2 decades. And only after 2 decades you can measure whether you are successful or not. All this mantra that you see online, be successful and so and so, don't believe in them. They're cheating on you. You can't be successful in 7 days. Life is about your professional rise will be at least for 20 years. And after 20 years, all this, there will be positive, there will be many games you'll fail, there will be many courses which will not work. All these things will raise to a situation in 20 years where when you look at this 20 years, your life knows, yes, I'm a successful coder because I have gone from this to this. That will give you one emotion, which is emotion of satisfaction. You look at the career, you will of course struggle, put more time and so and so. One career, one satisfaction. Over, you get an emotion. What you'll do after that? Simple. You will take that emotion, and so you have a satisfaction now. Okay? But you still don't know the meaning of life, because you have satisfaction, of course. You have not learned the meaning of life. Now what you'll do? And what you'll do is you will set yourself for more experience, more struggle. Your struggle should involve other people. When you were growing as a sportsman, you were struggling to reach to the next level, get next elo rating, get higher points, reach higher. It was all about you. But meaning of life is not all about you, it's about the universe. So when you take your skills, your career, and try to make a difference in the world, all right, when you try to make this difference into this world, then you are about a lot of world, you are about the entire universe. That's when the masculine superconsciousness rises. And because it is 20 years, if a guy starts at the age of 18 to take the next step in his whatever you select, you just give your everything and set out for 20 years, you will reach up to the age of 38, and then you will no more be competing. You are rather going to try to make a difference into the world with this emotion of satisfaction. You are not going to start and teach because you know nothing. You can provide knowledge to the people. You may choose not to do this. Then you become a satisfied. You have a satisfied career. You have a satisfied professional life. Once you are a satisfied professional life, you can choose to give knowledge to the to those who wants it. Right? You may open an academy, you may open a school, whatever, but you are now giving the knowledge. There is no emotion. Understand? The problem is, as you grow older, your requirement for emotion will grow because you have already achieved a lot. And that's why most people suffer. And the reason that the girls suffer is very much for the same reason. We already know that after the age of 35, our genetic material that binds the two chromosomes in the gamete gets weak, so her physiology starts going down. She will have less estrogen every year in comparison to the previous year. So if the career takes 20 years up to 38, by the time she is satisfied, she doesn't have the ability to live life anymore, because after that her emotions drop. Paradoxical, right? So after one has become successful, satisfied, that's 20 years, right? You are looking at the career, you grew, you are satisfied. With that satisfaction, you now wants to give, because you are satisfied, you have knowledge that others are seeking, so you give that knowledge. After you give that knowledge, then you become a knowledge man. So after you are successful, you become a knowledge man. When you become a knowledge man, when you are giving that knowledge also includes your changes, your experiences, your feelings. So knowledge provider gets feelings, not emotions, feelings. So once you become successful, then you become a knowledge man, knowledge provider. Then, as you are providing the knowledge, after let's say a decade, then you decide that okay, then you have another story. The second story is a knowledge provider in general can also be called a coach. So coach is training you. Why? Because you are doing better in something. So Coaches or the trainers can, knowledge providers are coaches and the trainers. So coaches also gives you the strategies. The trainer helps you to trains you into something without those strategies. So the difference between a coach and a trainer is coach will also give you the tips, tricks, methods, because the coach is successful. He is coaching based on that success. A trainer, on the other hand, doesn't have to be successful. The trainer has to know how to do things. So a gym trainer doesn't have to be a successful bodybuilder. Doesn't have to be a Arnold Schwarzenegger. So a gym trainer does have to know how to do certain exercise, how to do certain exercise good, let's say, and he has to train people. So that's a trainer, lab trainer, right? Uh, Driving school trainer. They're trainer. They don't have to share any tips and tricks with you, methods with you. But a coach, let's say a tennis player's coach, is somebody who is not only training you but is observing your brain and then making the necessary changes. He is thinking from his own experiences, also at the same time he is looking into the other knowledge base, and then he is helping you to sort out those small things. So he becomes a coach. That's why sports team has both trainer, physical trainer, mental trainer, as well as coach. So a coach has an experience. Coach has a successful experiences. He has theory and practical both knowledge. A trainer is only practical driven. The trainers don't. So you see, we need everybody in with us. Everybody has a role with us. You just cannot say why you are just training. That's something that has to then transform. So one has to become a good trainer, then one has to become a good knowledge seeker, right? Then one has to become what do you call, good executor, good implementer. Then one has to get feelings out of that. Then one has to become a good observer, to observe what are the things that is changes. Then you have to become a good innovator. So whatever changes is required, then you are making those changes, then you are bringing your innovation. And you have to be a good reader. You are reading different knowledge sources to find this trick and trick. And as you made your career, you reach to a situation where you are satisfied with your career or unsatisfied with your career. One may have unfulfilled dreams, but often after 20 years, you more or less, when you look back at your life, you will be satisfied whether you have losses or not, because 20 years is a big time. And just the fact that you ran for 20 years, it will give you the satisfaction, a lot of satisfaction. All right. So after 20 years, you are satisfied or little unsatisfied, whichever way it is. But often you have to really become satisfied if you are a man. And if you are a girl, of course, after 20 years, hormones goes down, and she is not as satisfied because her major feelings is coming from the age of 18, right? A man's hormone doesn't change. So a man feels very satisfied at the age of 38, and females feel unsatisfied at the age of 38. Of course, as we go along in other episodes, I'll guide my the students as how to make more meaning out of that. So these episodes are more or less, these classes are my teaching. That is, I'm trying to help you understand the meaning. These are not coaching, right? For the knowledge base, you can go to lifeas.com and explore, right? You have both meaning as well as how to do something, and you can really acquire your knowledge out of that. So mother is a teacher. Then after the age of 5, father becomes the teacher. Why? Father has more energy to keep it so simple. That's why there is no such thing as one parent, right? Both parents are required. After the age 5, mother is required, and then 5 to 18, father is required. Because at the time child's brain is growing, it is not the time for the knowledge. It is time for the meaning of the life. Little bit of knowledge, but more teaching. So mother and the father teaches the child up to the age of, let's say, 15, 5 plus 10 years. And that's generally it. And then you start giving the knowledge. But if you completely give the knowledge, school gives the knowledge, they are knowledge providers. School gives the knowledge, then you eliminate the emotion of the child. The child doesn't have any emotion. So if the child doesn't have any emotion, he is not likely to go very far in his or her career either. Because as you go higher, more people are going to make you completely suffer. Then you have to also become, in each step you will also learn. You will have teachers who will give you the meaning why you are suffering. But if they don't have the emotion, by default they cannot find a teacher whom they can submit to, and the teacher can teach them. And because they will not be able to learn, only acquire knowledge, they will never be satisfied with their life. That's what mostly happens with the female professionals. They acquire knowledge, skills, go higher, but when they start suffering, when you criticize the female, you just say any criticism, they can't handle it, they crush down. Because from the childhood, the schools, the schooling system and the other system took out that emotions that helps us to submit. So you have to become a good student, then you have to learn, then you have to acquire knowledge, then you have to become good at executing that knowledge, bringing that knowledge into practical life. Then you have to become good observer, then you have to become a good innovator, then you have to become a good competitor, you have to compete, then you have to take on the next level. Then when you reach to the top, you quit. You become satisfied and you come out. When you come out, you are coming out with a satisfaction. Now you have knowledge, skills, some meaning of life, of course, some observation, some experiences. Now you are satisfied, successful, professional. Then you become coach. You help others to be successful. So you are reviving your knowledge as you are coaching, coaching. Then your knowledge is getting reviewed, revived. Representation becomes good. Once you do this, you become a successful knowledge provider or the coach. Then you take your skills, experience, learning, knowledge, everything to more people. Then you will struggle, people will reject you. Then you will start understanding the meaning of the life. Once you start understanding the meaning of the life, you will become a student. You will learn. That's how the life moves in the circle. And when you are executing, for example, when the mother is teaching the child, she's getting better. So she can train other mothers how to teach their child. She acquired knowledge. She's doing it in the ground. She's getting better. Now she can train other mothers. So a mother at her age, after she has mastered, she can become a trainer. So play school doesn't have teachers, they have trainers. Don't call them teachers. Don't undermine the trainers. Don't try to become something which you are not. Feel happy that you are a trainer. I mean, come on. Even if you are a gym trainer, don't call yourself a gym coach. Right? Don't call yourself a gym teacher. You don't have to be. You have a value. You create a value. Even to become a trainer, which means that you have executed a task over and over again. You are disciplined. That itself makes you so amazing. If you become a trainer, if you have implemented it on child, if a female is become a trainer, she can become a trainer, not teacher. You don't have to be a teacher. A trainer is also very meaningful. They are needed for the society. You need somebody to train too. The teaching is always parents' responsibility. They can have a little bit, let's say 20% time for training. But in the modern society, 100% is training, and you are calling them teaching. Not done. Not done. Training doesn't have emotions. Emotions are killed as the child is growing up to the school education. Come on. When the life throws a challenge, the child doesn't know how to learn because there is no emotion. So they cannot find a teacher. They can find a trainer, not teacher. That is the reason most modern day youngsters, they start suffering from the age of 22, 25, or 30 at most. Anxiety is a common thing. So that's how we our learning continues. I believe you have been able to help you understand the various stages of training, teaching, coaching, learning, knowledge base, and I completely think that you are going to take meaning out of this. Go to the lifers.com, go to our site lifers.com, acquire your knowledge, go and implement. Check yourself with lifers.com test equipment. Do your self assessment. That is your observation tool. I built this for you. So go and take your test, lifers.com test at the top of lifers.com, LYFAS, lifers.com. At the top of lifers.com, you have this test option, self assessment test. Go and test yourself. So you have this observation, execute, observe, come back and share with us over here. Let us also become part of your journey. Let us learn. And of course, do not miss on, please, getting the book Intimacy Lost for Man, The Birth of the Luger. You'll be fascinated by that. That includes training, discipline, that includes a lot of coaching, that includes a lot of teaching. So it's a cycle that helps you to become more intimate with your life. Thank you for all your time, energy, emotion, focus, attention for the class. Listen to me. Have a great day. Thank you. See you tomorrow again with a new episode, new learning.